Welcome to Troy's Story. Today I want to talk about a guy who was a huge impact in my life. His name was Lanny Stanley. I shouldn't say his name was Lanny Stanley. His name continues to be Lanny Stanley. And that's capital Lanny, capital Stanley. Lanny Stanley was the first black student at an all-white school back in 1971-72. I lived across the road from that school. The school's name was ChristChurch School. It was an all-white institution. It began in 1929, and Lanny integrated that school in 1971, 72. I was at that time either in the fourth grade or the fifth grade. And I remember as I lived across the road from that school, we moved across the road from that school on December 25th, 1969. And we had just integrated my elementary school that same year in September of 1969. So this was my first opportunity to kind of get to know white people and what they were all about. So my dad built us a new house. We moved into our new home across the road from ChristChurch Episcopal School in Virginia, in the Tidewater area. And so on Christmas morning, there were no black kids close to me. My best friend, Butley Jarvis, was up the road about a mile or so away. And so I saw a bunch of white kids across the road throwing a football on Christmas morning. And I said to my mom, I said, Mama, I'm gonna go across the road and play with those kids. And so she was kind of hesitant, but she said, okay. And so I went on out across the road and I introduced myself to those kids, and their names were Ken Pollock and Dale Pollock and Eddie Bunning and Margaret Bunning and Jennifer Davies and Paul Kerr. And they became my buddies for the next 3 to 4 years that I lived there until Mama and Dad broke up. But my second year living there was this black kid who came to ChristChurch to integrate that school. He came there I thought he was a junior, but he came there as a sophomore. And that was because the way things were at that time, they set him back a year because they felt that he didn't meet their academic standards. So that brings me back to Lanny Stanley. So Lanny Stanley was, again, this first black kid who integrated this Episcopal school, this all-white prep school. And I just thought, man, he's the bravest guy in the world. Because other than myself, who should not have even have been on that campus, because I was just a kid who lived across the road from it. Lanny was his parents were paying tuition for him to go there. But other than the custodial staff and the black and white men and women who worked in the kitchen, Lanny was the only black face on that campus of about 300 to 400 students. But when he came there, he kind of took me under his wing. But as I have found out, he has admitted to me that I took him under my wing. I lost track of Lanny for close to 40 years because I had been Googling him trying to find Lanny Stanley, but I forgot his first name was Otis, not Lanny. But when I finally found him and we got back in touch, and now he's come to a number of my family events, he admitted that he could not understand who this little kid was roaming around on the ChristChurch campus, knowing everyone and talking to everyone. And he just thought, man, that kid's kind of hip. But in the big scheme of things, I thought he was the hippest cat in America. To be a black kid from Richmond, Virginia, who came to this little town called Saluda, which is ChristChurch is about 5 miles down the road from Saluda. And I just thought, man, he is so cool that he is willing to come here under all of this pressure and integrate this school. And he was such a role model for me. And I will love Lanny Stanley until the day I die because he will always be my big brother.